Hello and welcome back to the channel, Implied Investing. Today we are going to be reviewing YSPY by GraniteShares. It's part of their Yield Boost series. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and give the disclaimer that this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Before making any financial decisions, please seek out. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Before making any financial decision, please seek out a qualified financial advisor. And on this one, I'm very serious about that. This is not financial advice. So, why SPY? What is it? It is a 3x leverage, uncapped ETF that pays almost 50% a week, right? A week. So I want to just walk you through that right quick by showing a comparison of other funds. So here's VU, which is the S&P 500, and also T-SPY in the violet, and SPY is in blue. So as you can see, its total return over the past year is 13.53 total return. Now, mind you, this was because the market was going up for most of 2025. For most of 2025, the market was going up. We had the Liberation Day tariffs kind of dropped the market, but for the most part, it's doing pretty well. It actually is outperforming VU, but it is 3 times leveraged, and they are running a put credit spread strategy on that. Not a covered call strategy like T-SPY, but YSPY is running a put credit spread strategy. Let's take a look at the year to date. Year to date, it is up 3.99%, while T-SPY is at 0.25, and the S&P 500, represented by VU, is at 0.38. All right, I just wanted to give that little bit of a background before we hop into it. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. I'm trying to get rich quick. I'm trying to get rich quick. Well, you can get rich quick with YSPY, but you can also lose everything quickly with YSPY. I am interested in this fund because it is writing puts instead of doing covered calls, so your upside is not capped. And I'm interested in the 3 times leverage because it is a way to make more money. The premiums are 3 times as rich as they are on the normal S&P 500. So this is speculative high yield options income. Speculative high yield options income. The if you look at the fund without the dividends reinvested, let me show you guys that chart. You look at the fund without the dividends reinvested, just price return, it's not a very pretty picture. You see YSPY? It's going down. It's going down like this. The fund only works in certain conditions, and that's when the market is going up. So you're actually having negative 2.9, negative basically 30% returns if you're just looking at price return. But total return, you're looking at you're up 13%. Now, I'm not one of those people who are, oh, the total return is better than the price return. No, I want both. I want price return and total return. But on this particular fund, you can't get both. So YSPY is a novel income vehicle that generates weekly distributions by selling put options on SPXL, the 3x leveraged S&P 500 ETF. The fund holds no equities. Its treasuries consist entirely of cash and T-bills used as collateral for the options. While the stated distribution rate is 51%, the fund has experienced significant NAV erosion of approximately 30% since inception, a critical consideration the prudent investor must weigh. And I want to double tap on this that this thing has NAV erosion. It structurally has NAV erosion. Now, yeah, it structurally has NAV erosion. Look at that 30.4% NAV erosion that has happened. It has a distribution rate of about 50%, an expense ratio of 1.15%, and about $22.5 million under management. Now, a little bit later, after we go through its options, I'll tell you guys how you may want to use this fund, how you may not want to use this fund. Okay. So as you can see, it's by GraniteShares. They have a mixed reputation in the high income community. Some people love them, some people hate them, but hey, that's what they are. The fund is incredibly young, February 2025. So you have a little, almost a year worth of history on it. It pays weekly. It pays weekly. And the management fee as of right now is 1.5, the net management fee after expenses and ratio, because remember it's leveraged, so they have that carry fee is 1.5. Now they do there it's only 1.5 because they have a waiver. Without that waiver, it jumps to gross expense ratio of 5.88. It's currently not like that, and I think the waiver expires December 2026. So if you are going to get that and don't want to pay this super ultra high expense ratio, now would be the time to get it. All right, how does it work? It sells put options on SPXL. It hedges with protective puts. So it's writing that's a little misleading. It's writing a put credit spread where you have a short leg closer to the money and you have a long leg further out of the money, which defines your risk and make sure and also ensures that you are not capped. Your upside is not capped. So if the S&P 500 goes up, you'll be able to participate in, well, actually this doesn't hold S&P 500, but it writes credit spreads on S&P 500. So S&P 500 goes up, fantastic. Your put credit spreads premiums are safe. So here's a breakdown of its holdings: 50% US dollars, T-bills, and then you have the credit spreads. It is a pure credit spread play. It is not an S&P 500 play. It is a credit spread play on the S&P 500. That's an important distinction to make. So its main position, it has 930 contracts, very short dated contracts. They'll expire 02/20, so that's tomorrow. They basically write their short leg, they write it 5% out of the money, and they write their long leg 14.5% out of the money. It's probably 15, but when I checked, it was 14.5% out of the money. And these are relatively safe bets on SPX. On SPXL, because this thing is triple leveraged, whatever the market does, it happens 3 times as much on this fund. So if the market goes down 2% on SPX, then it's going down 6% on SPXL. So that is something to remember. So it's going to break that short leg, but the long leg may still be in there. It may not be a total loss. Its secondary positions, 80 plus 30 contracts, 30 contracts expiring on the 18th. So those already expired. They actually made their money. They were close to the money. Short put barely was 0.5% out of the money, and the long put was 5.1% out of the money. So they actually made their expenses. I mean, I'm sorry, they actually made all their put credit spread money. Um, moving on to the distribution rate, as I said, as of late, it was 51.41%. That was this week's distribution, and the stock price is 17.54. So the stock price is actually trading at a premium versus the NAV because it only has 17.38 dollars worth of assets under management. I'm sorry, of net asset value, but because the stock price is higher, it's trading at a slight premium. So let's go ahead and dive into the options income. The option income produces about $10.4 million, 10.4 to $15.6 million. The annual distributions, if they're trying to hit uh, that 50 percent mark, they need about 11.5 million. The T-bills only produce $500,000, which means the fund on the low side makes 10.9 million, on the high side makes 10.6 million. So the verdict is that they can cover it in a upwards moving market. They can cover their distributions in a upwards moving market. That is important to say, but there is still structural NAV erosion. There is structural NAV erosion. And here's why. It's because when on a triple leveraged fund, when the market moves down 2 to 3%, the market has to go up 5 to 6% for you to get back to even. And the market just doesn't move that way in normal circumstances. If it goes on a tear, fantastic. But in normal circumstances and the sort of choppy to down to barely up market that we have, you're going to persistently see the NAV erosion. And even last year, uh, we saw the stock price just continually dropping because as those strike prices get hit, if they get hit, if they had a bad week, a bad day, then you're looking at they have to pay out that put credit spread money and their options are going down. But in a perfect condition, they are making enough money to cover their distributions. So here are some risk factors. NAV erosion, 30.4% price decline in under a year. The 51% yield is misleading. You are partially receiving your own capital back as distributions. This is true. It has a wildly high expense ratio of 5.88 after December 26th, 2026. It's 3x leveraged. So, as I said, 5% move equals a 15% move on this ETF. So if the market goes down 5%, which is very possible, then one you go down 5%, it's very possible it's going to break not only the short leg of the put credit spread, but it's also going to break the lower leg of the put credit spread, and that's a total loss. It's a very small fund, so closure risk is real, and it hasn't really performed in a consistent down market. It's been since inception, it's been a pretty healthy market except for the Liberation Day uh, tariffs and the market crash that appeared after that. So some of its competitors, it does have a sister fund that's written that they write put credit spread options on the Nasdaq called TQQY. JEPI, I throw that in there just to show you what a standard cover call fund does, and then XYLD, which is a aggressive at the money cover call. As you can see, it performs decently well compared to its sister fund. The sister fund pays out 10% more. Very similar expense ratios, but it has tiny assets under management compared to JEPI or compared to XYLD. It has gone down 30%, which is less than its sister fund on the NASDAQ, but JEPI has positive total return and XYLD also has a flat return because they're writing at the money. Flat to negative. I'll caveat that. All right, who this may be appropriate for. Income investors who understand option mechanics and accept NAV erosion, investors who genuinely innovate volatility seeking a genuinely innovative volatility harvesting. This strategy is unique in the ETF space. Those wanting weekly cash flow who will reinvest distributions to offset NAV decay. Sophisticated investors using this as a small speculative allocation, and tax advantage accounts where ROC distributions are less problematic. And who it's not for anybody who's not a degenerate. It is not for the non-degenerates. And even for the degenerates, I would warn you, don't get this. I would warn you, don't get this. Um, I would warn even degenerates, do not get this. Strengths and oversights, it is 3x leveraged, but it's running put credit spreads on SPX, and over time as SPXL has a tendency to go up and to the right. So their put spreads may not get hit. It's just that their distribution yield is so high. Real weekly cash flow is at 0.17% per share. Um, it's defined risk, so even if the strike price does get blown, it won't lose. It's not a total loss. But these are about the only saving graces. And with that, I think I'm gonna come to the part of the video where I'm gonna tell you guys how I'm using this. So I did buy this fund. I bought 85 shares. That's about $1,500 worth. It is a very small position in my portfolio, and here's what I'm doing with it. I am not reinvesting dividends. I am not reinvesting dividends at all. I am just using it as a cash flow machine. So its NAV decay is 30% a year. Its payout is 50%. Do the math. 50, 30 minus 50 is 20. So this thing is cash flowing you an actual 20%. Actually, it's lower than that. If you really do the math, it's like a 7% cash flow on top of whatever you're getting in a year. And the NAV will probably continue to erode. They'll probably have to do a reverse split, and then they'll have to, and then you'll have less shares. But there is money to be made. There is money to be made. I actually took this money from a position in Mago and my position in ISSB. I had too much exposure to crypto, so I shrunk those positions. I shrunk ISSB, which is S&P 500 in crypto. I already have BTCI and KYLD and blocks. I have enough exposure to Bitcoin, not crypto, and I purchased this. I am really excited to see how it plays. If you have a long portfolio that you just want to introduce a cash income generating potential, then I highly recommend this. I mean, I run a put credit spread strategy in my long portfolio also. And this is just having somebody else run the put credit spread strategy in your portfolio to make additional money. Now, do not, if you're worried about the NAV, if you're worried about the price return, that's going to be an issue for you. But the dividends, the fund has been around for about a year. The dividends are continuous and pretty solid. So think of this, if you don't want to run your own put credit spread strategy and you're okay watching that NAV decline happen, this may be an option for you. Um, yeah, that's how I'm using it. That's how I think a smart income play might actually use it. But besides that, I think I'm going to go ahead and close the video right here. I want to thank you all for listening, and please like, subscribe, leave your comments in the questions, leave your questions in the comments, and have a blessed day.